All right, thank you, Don.
Okay, thank you. Everyone can hear me, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Karen. Another one, Rudy? Mo gestured toward the tap as he looked at Rudy's eyes for response. I'm probably good, Mo, thanks. Rudolph lifted his eyes from his beer and looked around. A couple old timers staring at their beers. A table full of polar bears in the back, arguing about hockey and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Yeah, probably time to go home. He slopped down the last swallow of his warm beer and laid a bill on the bar. Merry Christmas, Mo. He tried to be happy as he headed out toward the door. Yeah, you too, Rudolph. Merry Christmas. Christmas Eve, kind of a lonely time for an old reindeer. Did he really want to go back to Santa's workshop? Why, all those young bucks, they would just laugh at him and call him names. Hey, geezer, or Grandpa's here. Well, it wasn't always like that. There had been some glory years, that's for sure. Why, one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa had come to him and said, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? And Rudolph had led the team with his beautiful red nose. Oh, how the reindeer loved him then. And the ladies, why every cow from Yukon to Lapland had left him to their scent. And before long, he would have them shouting out with glee. He had a pretty serious love affair with Dancer for a while, but his wandering ways trampled her heart. That was probably his biggest regret. Dancer, now many years a widow, had 5 grandchildren and had 3 of her sons were in the prestigious Santa run tonight. Well, he went down in history, but that's what it was, history. In '95, he had blown it. Why, it was just a little rambler in North Dakota. This roof wasn't even steep. Like, they did millions of houses with way steeper roofs. But Rudolph, because he was careless and flirting with the girls, he didn't position the sleigh properly. And when Santa jumped off and scrambled down the chimney, the sleigh shifted on the icy roof and started plunging toward the edge. To save the carefully packed presents, Rudolph jerked back. And he saved Christmas again. But this time not as a hero, but from his own stupidity. And his back was never the same again. He couldn't pull his weight. In '94, Santa asked him to step down from the Christmas ride. Rudolph thought that would kill him. But 30 years later, he's still around. There'd been some tough times. Painkiller addiction, alcohol. But somehow he'd found an equilibrium that allowed him to get through the day without hurting himself or hurting anyone else. He'd go down to Moe's in the afternoon, maybe have a couple, play some reindeer games, pool, dice, maybe some darts. Once in a while, he'd try to play cards with the polar bears, but he had a hard time holding the cards with his cleft hoofs. Pool was his sport. The cleft hoof lined up the cue perfectly. His red nose was now turning purple and his fetlocks were gray. Well, he walked through the snow back to the workshop. And as he got there, he went I really want to go in there. Everyone is bursting with energy and joy, and I'll just be in the way. But when you open the door, the pure energy and love coming from that building overwhelmed his self-pity. There were elves scurrying about, putting last-minute finishes on last-minute gifts. There were elves piling gifts into the sleigh. There are piles of gifts everywhere to be loaded. Reindeer surging in the harness with earnest energy, ready to go. Santa, with a twinkle in his eye and a glass of eggnog in his hand, merrily supervising it all. Mrs. Claus frantically trying to get Santa's attention because there was a little bit of his belly sticking out from that felt coat of his that had been added in the last year. And the children, they were scampering, all the little reindeer and elves were scampering to and fro, chasing and laughing, playing hide and seek among the big piles of gifts, sneaking cookies, sneaking eggnog. Even old Rudolph got caught up in the fun, snuzzling and giving them rides and making them laugh with his reddish purple nose. And then Santa was off. And the others, their duties done, gathered up their families and took off. And after a while, it was only Rudolph and 4 young reindeer. The young reindeer told them proudly how their parents were pulling Santa's sleigh, but they were waiting for their grandma to pick them up. Well, where was Grandma? Rudolph told them stories and entertained them with his red nose and had them laughing, but one by one they nuzzled into his fur and fell asleep. At about 1, the door burst open. Children, I'm so sorry. When the baby fell asleep, I must have fallen asleep too. Then she took in the scene. The old graying reindeer, the precious young ones, snuggled into his coat for warmth. Hello, Dancer. Rudolph shyly looked at her. He was glad to see that her eyes registered warmth and not pity. Well, Rudolph, I am so sorry. Hey, no problem at all. I had fun with them. You've got some really nice grandchildren, Dancer. Rudolph helped Dancer bundle up the kids and took them to the door. He spoke up. Dancer, would you like to have a cup of coffee sometime? Yes, Rudolph, I think I would like that. Alone again, Rudolph pawed the best straw into his corner of the stable. Yeah, life was long and getting old was no glory. But Christmas is giving and sometimes even harder receiving. Christmas is innocence. Christmas is love. Christmas is opening up to receive all those things. But most of all, Christmas is children. Rudolph contentedly snuggled down further into his warming straw.
Thank you, John, for that excellent story. I haven't heard that, so I'm imagining that this came from you. Our last speaker, and I put her as our featured speaker, and she said, oh, don't make me a featured speaker, but I told her she deserved it. So she is our featured speaker, and she's Judith Naken. And Judith is, a retired octogenarian. She recently moved from the Pacific Northwest in Washington to a teeny tiny town in Oklahoma. And she's loving it. She was widowed last year, so now she's spending her time writing and editing and maybe telling stories. Her presentation today is the $25 miracle. The $25 miracle, Judith Nathan.
Yes, indeed. For future reference, if you don't, hook me off and never let me come back, it's knacking, not making. Mine is a true Christmas story, every word.
Say that I wrote that story, and I don't think you did it.
Remember that?
I'm okay.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
okay.
Yes, you're okay. You're fine. Somebody was muted.
I don't have any background because we're still a construction zone in this new house, and this corner is my office, and the rest of this room is storeroom of boxes not unpacked yet. Anyway, this is a true Christmas story, and it begins long ago and far away. Long ago in December of 1969, when Ed Lewis was probably just screwing up his nerve enough to ask a girl for a date. The first of many, 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 many girls. And far away was Spokane, Washington. When you guys think of Washington, I'm sure you think of evergreens dripping with a relentless rain in the Evergreen State, because it does in Western Washington rain all the time. But Washington is two different states. It's separated in the middle by the Cascade Mountains, and Spokane is on the side that has 4 seasons: winter, summer, all that. But it's mid-December, beyond mid-December, and it's cold and brown outside. And I'm 6 months sober, and I have lost the first job of my life. I got 3 young children at home. They're 12, 14, and 16. And I'm running out of money. Because I had been in Spokane such a short time, I had to draw on Californians' unemployment. And that was great because I'd get $53 a week out of California. And the limit in the state of Washington was only $42. So that 53 was going to be very nice. But Christmas was coming and the checks weren't coming from California. I have about $4 in my purse, nothing in the bank, and some flour and bacon and few stuff that I can make biscuits and gravy and things for the kids, waiting for those checks. Dorcas and I, when the boys were out one day, the daughter was the youngest, we wrapped up what things I had already squirreled away in the linen closet in funny papers, 1 sock at a time for the boys of a pair of socks, when we put them on the hearth. It was pitiful and there wasn't much, but a few days later, I'll say, I don't know what day it was, but we'll say it was the 18th or 19th of December. It snowed, big snow. And Douglas, the middle kid, got up real early and went out with his snow shovel and worked all day, knocking on people's doors and asking if they could have their snow shoveled. And when he came home in mid-afternoon, he had $5. He was so proud. So he took the old sled and went down almost a mile to the Christmas tree lot down on Sprague Avenue. And in the meantime, I went to the mailbox. And in the mailbox, there was no other mail, just a beat up old white envelope. And I opened it up on the way back to the house, and it had 2 10s and a $5 bill in it. 2 tens and a $5 bill. My God, my head started thinking about all the things I could do with 25 bucks. Visions of a little 33-cent turkey and stuffing and the fruit to make the family's famous heavenly hash for Christmas dinner. I looked, there were no footprints around the bottom in that pristine snow. I didn't know how it got there. I didn't know any of these people. I hadn't lived here long enough. I had very few acquaintances in the whole of Spokane. So anyway, as I'm going back to the house, Douglas comes back. Yeah, it's getting dusk. He comes back pulling a sled with this Christmas tree on it. And he comes running in the house. I don't know where the other 2 kids were, but he and I were alone. He comes running in the house with this Christmas tree still out in the front yard, but he's got this dime store sack under his arm. And he says, "Mom, I'm sorry I took so long, but I just wanted to get the very right tree." So I asked the guy where the $5 trees when he told me. So I went over there and I looked at every one of them till I found the one I knew would be perfect for us. And he said, I went back to the man and handed out my $5 bill. And he said, "Son, I hope your folks appreciate you as much as I appreciated watching you pick out that tree. You take that. It's a gift from me." And Douglas said, "Mom, I still had the money. So I just pulled the sled over to the dime store and I got Dorcas a guitar strap and I got Marcus a book, and I'm not telling you anything else." And he goes marching down the hallway with his paper parcel. And somewhere the other children materialized and we brought the tree in and we decorated it with all the things that we had from the family for all the years that have gone by. And we sat at the piano and did our singing of 12 Days of Christmas. The two young children with voices like birds, and Marcus, my oldest, who couldn't carry a tune, with his "You Turtle Doves" was his part. And we decorated the tree. It was, of course, the finest tree we'd ever had. The next day, I went to the store and I gave the kids each $5 to go shop again, and I bought $10 worth of Christmas groceries down at Albertsons. And then it was Christmas Eve. And Christmas Eve in the mail came 3 $53 checks from California. We didn't hardly even celebrate because we were already rich. Thanks.
That was great.
Thank you, Judith, for that beautiful story. Yes, I remember miracles like that too.
We could probably get everybody to unmute if they want to chime in, or we.
Okay, everybody unmute because I want to hear your laughter on this closing joke. Why did the turkey get excused from the table? For his foul language. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And now Larry,
Andy.
and
Mark Beery had a joke. He says, "Where does the snowman keep his money?" In the
the bank.
bank.
So that was. Do we know what's next month? Andy?
Joyce is next month.
Oh, Joyce, quickly, you want to come up and say, and I'm sorry, I have to get out of here. My booster shot is right now, so.
Thank you, Karen. for hosting.
Hi, next month, January, is a path chosen. You can, to me, it's when you choose to go off in a direction, whether it's a long path or just a day, it's a choice you make, and I want you to share the choice and why you made it. So January, get in touch with me if you want to have a good story. I have a new storyteller I'm excited to introduce, but I won't do it now. I'll do it next year. Next year.
Next year.
Hey, what's the date? Because it's the fourth Saturday, right?
It's the fourth Saturday. I think it's the 22nd. Am I right?
Yes. Yes.
The 22nd. It conflicts with the Winter Festival. But theirs is in the evening, I believe, mostly. And ours, of course, is in the afternoon. And unless something different happens, we will be both Zoom and in person, masks and vaccinated. Okay, thank you.
One last joke since I have you on here. This is another Larry joke. What do elves learn in school?
What do elves learn in school?
The alphabet.
Okay.
Hey,
All
Judith,
right, thank
Merry
you.
Christmas,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas.
this is Judith's first time telling a story. And Judith, this is Ed. How you doing?
I'm okay. Actually, I had a terrible reaction to my Moderna booster. I was so sick, it was unbelievable, and I never had any problem with the 2 original shots. So I'm just barely motating now. But I'm glad you talked me into this, Ed.
Yeah, well, you're a natural storyteller. I hope to hear more stories from you. Definitely.
Yeah, well, we'll tell you about Osceola, South Dakota, population 50 sometime in the spring, after I get settled in this house.
Hey,
There
Judith,
should be some stories there.
hey,
Oh, I
Judith,
guess.
tell people about the books that you've written.
I don't often do that. That's why I didn't put it in my bio, but I do have 5 published books. Well, 1 self-published and 4 published. And if you remember my name, you can look them up on Amazon. 2 of them are memoir. In fact, I won the Reader's Digest memoir book contest, Reminisce magazine in 2015.
Wow.
That book is called Confessions of a Martian Schoolgirl, because there are folks that stay in the box and folks that think out of the box, and I just, what box, so and then there's three works of fiction. So take a look at them, buy a book.
It's Christmas, buy a book.
Thanks, Ed. I'm getting off now.
Okay.
Nice job with your storytelling. Okay,
Love you,
guys.
Judith.
I know.
Bill's
Good to
on there too. Bill and Lori, they're on.
Are
they're on
they?
their iPhone.
Good to see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Andy.
Perfect, yeah. Okay, guys. Guess you can see our big crowd here now. Thank you. And Mark, it's a bummer we're not, the Auburn Winter Festival's on the same day, but hopefully we'll be able to get up there in the evening. And she's still here. And I know Sherry got off when we were having those glitches, and so she never got to get back on.
Hey, Andrew, I think we ought to consider doing it on the following Saturday. But we can talk about all that.
I know, I think, let's talk about that. I think that's probably a good idea, because you're gonna be up there anyway, right, in Auburn?
It's not live, it's Zoom.
Oh, it's all on Zoom?
Yeah.
Oh, is it a whole day too?
Yeah, it starts at 12 with children's stories. 1:30, I'm going to do a workshop. Then it's a liar's open mic, and the children's storytelling is open mic also at 12 to 1:30. At 1:30 to 3 is my workshop for more beginning storytellers. And then there's a liars gathering. Anyone can share a story. And then in the evening, there's 4 amazing storytellers. I don't remember the exact time. Mark's on there. He can tell us. But there's 4 tellers. Sheila Arnold, Ramya from India, who's been with us before, and a couple others that are really great. So it's going to be a good lineup.
Yeah. Okay, we'll talk some more. Yep. All right. Any other announcements anybody want to make? Okay, well, good to see you. Thank you so much for telling great stories today, and I really enjoyed it. So take care, folks.
See ya. See you later, Dave. We'll chat.
All right, I'll call you, Ed. Talk to
Yeah.
you guys later.
All right.
Everybody have a nice Christmas.
You know what the theme is for next month?
Joyce.
Yes.
All right.
All right, bye-bye, guys.